Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear. What's your name?
My name is Mustafa. I'm calling from the UK, England. I've been hearing, listening to some of some of the things you've been saying for over a year now. One thing which sort of, which is important, I thought was important, was that you made a distinction between what the Sunni school of thought is compared to the Shia school of thought when it comes to free will and destiny. That the Sunnis do not believe in true free will. They say that evil, the concept of evil and bad deeds arises is caused by God
everything
himself.
is from him. Everything is from God.
Yes, and
so right now you're talking to me. You're talking to me. This speech is created in you by God, by Allah.
I get and
your energy doesn't produce this talk. There's a secret energy. There's a secret energy running through you. That's God's energy that's creating this speech. So the movement that you make with your lips, your tongue, this is not carried out by the energy you consume from food. This is by another secret power, divine power that's running through you, and he is making you an instrument for this talk to be carried out through you to me. Okay? And if you decided to call me, you did not decide. The decision was made by Allah. Allah made that decision in you, and you become that instrument, and you picked up the phone, you called me. And it's Allah who actually called me. And I'm talking to Allah right now. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I agree. But you said that the Shia school of thought believes differently, that there is actual free will. So
absolutely.
I want to understand how. What I try to understand is how is God's quality or his attribute of being all-knowing, omniscient, omnipotent, coincide or work in cohesion with something like free will. Because let's put the example that you gave me, which was that God knew. Did God know that I was going to call you?
Yeah, absolutely. He knew. Yeah.
Before I called you.
Yeah.
So did God know before I was born that I was going to call you on this date?
Absolutely. He knew that. Yeah.
So by virtue of him knowing something, added to the fact that he is all powerful and nothing happens without his will, so to speak, how does my individual free will come into play?
So if I know.
Let me just put it this way. If God knew before I was born that I was going to make this call to you, nothing I can do right now would be able to change the fact that I would be doing that.
No, that's your mischaracterization. Okay, God knew that you will, by your free will, you will do this. And it does not create any coercion. If I know that this person tomorrow is going to go to the bank and deposit a check. My knowledge that he is tomorrow going to the bank and deposit this check does not coerce him to go to the bank and deposit the check. If I know for a fact that tomorrow the weather is going to be sunny and it's going to be warm because it's summer and it's going to be, let's say, 80 degrees Fahrenheit or 85 or 90 or whatever, okay? My knowledge does not cause coercion. This does not change destiny. Okay. Likewise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows by his infinite knowledge that I at this day will be wearing a red tie. By my choice, I'll be wearing a red tie. And if I were going to wear a blue tie, Allah would know that also, that I was by my free will. So Allah's knowledge does not. I'm trying to explain that. Allah's knowledge, rather Allah's foreknowledge beforehand, ahead of time, does not cause coercion. That's quite obvious. To change that into coercion, that is quite an obvious fallacy, because we see there's no relationship between Allah's knowledge and creation of coercion there.
Okay, let's put it this way. Okay, if I say slightly differently, so maybe I can get the point across better. Let's say, can you surprise God? You can't.
Mm-hmm. No.
You can't.
No.
So let's say before I was born, this call was going to be made. There's no way I can surprise God in not doing it or not making the call. The fact that he knew that a call is going to be made makes me not making the call impossible.
No.
In that way,
no, it doesn't create. No, it does. If you don't make the call, if you didn't make the call, that would not have been impossible. But that would just mean that God knew ahead of time that you're not going to make the call.
But Mr. Allahyari, there's a difference between you knowing something and God knowing something.
Knowledge does not cause coercion. Just as I'm saying, we know tomorrow the sun will rise. We know for a fact tomorrow the sun will rise. My knowledge the sun is rising does not make the sun rise. My knowledge tomorrow the sun would rise at 6:15 a.m. It does not cause, there's no causality between my knowledge and rising of the sun. Likewise, Allah's knowledge is not the cause of my actions. Allah has given me free will. Allah's knowledge is infinite, and He knows, just as He knows that sun tomorrow will rise at 6:15 a.m. He knows that tomorrow what I'll be wearing, what I'll be doing, what I'll be eating. Allah will know that. But there is no causality. You understand? Causality, cause and effect.
Yeah.
Causality is this. If this my action, I'm putting the ring into my finger. This action is the cause. Action I'm carrying out. Now this is the cause. Why am I wearing a ring? Because there was a cause of this action. The cause was that I pushed this ring onto my finger. Knowledge of Allah is not the cause of the actions we carry out. Okay? There's no causality. As long as you cannot provide causality that Allah's knowledge causes things to happen, then there is no coercion. And there's no causality. Please listen. There's no causality between Allah's knowledge and the things that we carry out. That's quite obvious. We can just look. Allah, we know tomorrow, as the example I gave you, we know that today the sun will sit at, let's say, 8:15 p.m. The sun sits at 8:15 p.m. That's my knowledge. Causes the sun to sit at 8:15? Not at all. Not at all.
Okay. So let's say I grant this one premise here, sort of a premise that knowledge per se does not cause coercion, in your words, that just by knowing something is not able to alter our decisions or affect our decisions. Okay, let's put it differently. Can anything happen without the will of God or the permission, let's say, in the late term? Permission.
So Allah has created this world and give us a free choice. And He has showed us the way, and He has given us knowledge, and He has given us intelligence. He's given us a common sense. He has given us the eyes to see to see different things and make decisions and choices between different things. He has created this thing. So He has created that and gives us a choice to what to do. No, if Allah did not want this system to exist, this system would not have existed. We would have been robots. Like just the sun rises every day at a specific time and it just goes through its phases, right? We would be the same thing. Just the earth always revolves around its axis. So we wouldn't have any choice. We would be just dumb actors, like robots, do different things without any choice. But Allah has given us this choice. Allah has willed that we should have a choice, and we have this choice. So, but Allah's will is that we have a choice. Allah has given us the choice. So if I take this cup of tea and decide to drink a cup of tea, and I decide not to drink a cup of coffee, Allah has willed to give me this choice to have these two options. What I'm going to do? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the only problem, I understand that. The only problem I have with that argument is that the way God is defined is that He is all-knowing, He is all-powerful, and He cannot be surprised. So when you attribute those definitive and qualities to a being, it is different from doing that with a human being. For instance, the example which is given is that a teacher always knows whether which student is going to pass or fail based on his knowledge. I understand that, but his knowledge is not definite. That the student can always surprise him by studying hard, so to speak. That cannot be the case here because A, he is all-knowing, so he knows everything that is going to happen. He has structured your mind and he has created you. Therefore, every thought that permeates through your mind is known to him before it even generates in your mind. And that thought cannot generate, so to speak, without his will. So when all of those thoughts and actions are being pre-known, predestined, prior to them taking place by an all-knowing being, which cannot be surprised, in essence, every action becomes predestined, so to speak.
So that's your mischaracterization. That is your mischaracterization. See, Allah cannot be surprised because a person who is surprised, who is ignorant, who doesn't know something, and something happens outside his sphere of knowledge. He does not anticipate. Yeah, it happens. He becomes surprised. So who becomes surprised? Someone who was ignorant. A person or an entity who is knowledgeable, he doesn't become surprised because he anticipates, he knows it's coming. So just because he cannot be surprised, Allah cannot be surprised, it does not cause coercion. He knows things are going to happen, just as we will not be surprised the sun will rise tomorrow at 7 a.m. We know sun will rise 7 a.m. We all get older. Let's see, we all get older. Every day we get older. So we will not be surprised tomorrow we one day older. We are not surprised, right? Okay, yeah. This my knowledge caused this. Did my knowledge cause this? No, there's no causality between the two. The fact that we're getting older has its own causes. Even if I were ignorant of the fact that I get older, I will get older. There's no causality between my knowledge and me getting older. Likewise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us free will. You are the one who is taking action. And listen, you're taking your actions. You decided to call me today. You know that you called me today. To play with this is like to deny the self-evident. Like you are talking to me on the phone. Now you say I'm not talking to you on the phone. You tell me you're not talking to me on the phone. So that would be denying something that we all know is true. We all know that we make the decision whether to drink tea or coffee. We all know that. You have a choice. Right now, you have a choice to hang up the phone or continue to talk to me. Right now, you have a choice to sit on your sofa or go sit on the dinner table and continue this call. You have a choice today to wear a t-shirt or wear a dress shirt. You know that for a fact. Today, you are going to eat a salad or you're going to eat a burger. That you know for a fact that we know this for a fact. Every human being finds this as undeniable truth in his conscience, that he makes the decisions. Somebody is not making the decision for him. There are things that we do not make a decision for them. For instance, we're getting older. I'm getting older every day. Well, if it was up to me, I will decide not to get older. But that's not for me to decide. My heart palpitates. My heart beats every second. That's outside my choice. I cannot decide for my heart to beat or not to beat. But there are things that I make a decision for them. I know that for a fact. So you are arguing against something. You're trying to prove something that we all know is not true. And the reason, the proof that you are bringing is so lame, so weak, so suspicious that because Allah knows something, therefore it's predestination. Continue.
So there are two things here. One is, yes, on a very basic level, you're saying that knowledge does not cause causality. I'm saying when you're speaking about God being something like being all-knowing, all-powerful, then knowledge does cause, in essence, causality. But even let's say we take that out of the equation. We say, okay, I agree with you. You're right. In human interaction and in our day-to-day lives, knowledge does not cause causality. I understand that. But then the question, when you add the knowledge with the workings of the universe, the question is, are the workings of the universe under the control of God? We are told from a young age that everything happens because of the will of God, that not even a leaf moves without the will of God, that everything, whether the creation, this is the soil, the flowers, the rain, everything, this is happening by the will of God. If God's will is not there, or his permission,
so you have to distinguish between two things. You have to distinguish between things that do not have a choice, do not have an option. A leaf falls from a tree. It's going to fall down. It doesn't have a choice to go anywhere else. Okay? Like we getting older. We don't have any choice but to get older. Okay? These things are not subject to our choice, subject to decisions we make. But there are things, limited things, not everything, limited actions that we do them. We take those decisions. We make those choices. And those things Allah has willed. It's Allah's will. It's Allah's decision that our choice should matter in this life. That whatever we want to do, we can do. For instance, I drink tea or I drink coffee. I raise my hand or I put down my hand. This is my choice. Allah does not force me. It's not the same. You have to distinguish between these things. Like a tree, a leaf falls from a tree. Of course, it's going to go down. It doesn't have any other option. It doesn't have a choice. It's not a living thing. Okay? But some things, those actions that are choice conscious, that are based on choice, those actions also by God's will. But Allah has willed that we have to have a choice which way we are going to carry them out. Yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, I think we're running around in circles. I understand the point that you are making about free will, that God has willed free will, but that's the play on words in a lot of ways, because either you will something, or either you have free will or you don't. Whether something is predestined or whether you have free will, you can't have one and both at the same time. Whether something will be predestined, written down beforehand, that this is bound to happen, and or that everything that is happening in the universe, in the world right now, is happening by the permission of God. To put it very in a layman terms, sort of in a term that for instance, the wind is blowing because God is allowing it to blow, so to speak. Yeah. That the flowers are blossoming because God is allowing it to happen. If God didn't allow it to happen, it wouldn't happen. It's as simple as that. So when you have that much control over the workings of the universe, therefore you have control over the human thinking, human ideas. An idea of whether I want to drink tea or whether I want to drink coffee or whether I want to go out or not, that idea is instilled in me without my control in my brain. That idea I don't have a control over. But can an idea come into my mind without the will or without the permission or without the allowance of God? If the answer is no, it can't. It has to come with his permission. Then that idea which instigated or led me to reach a decision was because of his will, so to speak. To put it very plainly.
So you have to also distinguish between many things, okay? Ideas that pop up on our minds, they are not our conscious effort. That's not our choice. The ideas that pop up, where they pop up from, it's a mystery. Where ideas come from, perhaps Shaitan could put some ideas in our mind, or perhaps angels could do it, or perhaps we hear things from the society, how the human brain works, mind works. Who knows that, right? But these ideas, these choices come before you. And then you are the final arbitrator. You are the final judge. That you make a decision that which way you are going to go. That happens every day, every moment in your life. You have the ideas whether to eat a burger or a salad or drink a Coke or drink a glass of water, right? The idea comes all the time. Yeah, Allah has control. These ideas would not come to you, obviously, if Allah didn't want. Obviously, but at the end of the ideas are not. Ideas coming to the mind is not by choice. Different ideas come without our will, but which one we choose to act upon, that is the will. That is our choice. There's no coercion there.
Okay, I mean, I just want to take you back 2 sentences where you said the ideas coming into our mind are not our choice, but the choice, but by the will of God, by the will of God.
Yeah.
So, fine. So that the idea or that the inception, so to speak, of an idea to do one thing or the other is not under our control, but it is under the control of God. Yes. So in that regard, you have control. God has control over what ideas come into our mind and what ideas don't come into our mind. And those ideas, in essence, determine our actions.
You always see, different ideas come, and Allah has given you the common sense, the power to make a distinction between right and wrong, between beneficial and harmful, between moral and immoral. Allah has given that to you also. So ideas come, but ideas do not force you to do something, right? Ideas come to mind. Just like you see on a dinner table, you see, or a buffet table, you see these different choices of food. Now you have a choice. You have to make a decision which one you're going to take. So ideas, obviously, ideas come to our mind. Good things, bad things, all of them come to our mind. And then at the same time, Allah has given us that inner light, that call that always tells you which is wrong, which is right. If you do this, this is right, this is moral, this is permissible. And if you do this, this is a sin, this is wrong. So at that time, it's your test, what you're going to do. So all that is, what you said is true, but there's no coercion. At the end of the day, you make your decisions and you write your destiny, which way you want to go.
Okay. I don't want to take too much of your time. I think you've been on live for a while now. I could continue on for a while, because the idea is not to argue with you or to win one way or the other. It's trying to understand, because I have grappled with the problem of predestination versus free will. This is not something new. This debate has been going on for centuries, from Aristotle to even now. So I'm not saying we will reach.
So it's quite clear. The human society runs because we agree on free will. If you tomorrow you go to any court of law, you cannot argue because I didn't have free will. You kill somebody, don't punish me to to prison because I didn't have free will. All right.
But
you don't show up for your class. It was God's action. He didn't let me come today to class. Don't give me a bad grade. That's not going to happen. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. The question of coercion and not having the will, this is ridiculous. Everybody knows.
No,
if somebody today comes and slaps you on the face, punches you on the face, you are going to fight back. You're not going to say, God did this to me. You're not going to say that. If somebody takes away your car, your money, you are not going to say, Allah did it to me. You're going to run after the person who took your money, right?
No, I'm not. It's not a cop out. I'm not doing it.
We all know this question of coercion, Allah doing things. This is preposterous. Yeah.
Well, you can say that, but you see, it's not I'm not trying to do a cop out here by saying that all the bad things that I personally do or anyone else does is not because of me. It's because of God. So I can pop out and say, well, that's what really happened. Understandably, yes, in any court of law, you will have, no one will say you were coerced into it.
And if you go to your work, you work like for a week, right? You work every day, you go to work. 7 in the morning and come back 4 in the afternoon, you're tired. At the end of the week, the guy doesn't pay you. He says, God did it. All the work, why should I pay you? God did the work. You didn't make any effort. God did it.
I agree, but the court of law also does not work under the assumption that there is a God. That's also true. So therefore,
so we all know. So we all know that human society, everybody knows. Like atheist, theist countries, anywhere you go in the world, All of them. Society is run on the basis that people are responsible for their actions. God didn't do their actions. Yeah, people did their actions. If you go with your family, your wife does something, your mother something, your son does something, you ask them why you did this. You don't blame God, right?
Mm-hmm. No,
we all know that's true. We all know we are doing things. God is not doing these stuff. Yeah.
No, I believe in free will. I believe in free will, obviously.
Okay, then. End of story. End of discussion. May Allah bless you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the time.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Goodbye. Okay.